we are getting ready to celebrate his 55th birthday on Saturday. We're going to open up the Tony Bennett appreciation portion
Giddy
of the
up.
show. Jeff, take it away.
Yeah, there's so much to be appreciative for. And I'm just going to start out with the awards that this young man, only 55 years old, has accumulated. He took over the program April 1st, 2009 from Dave Lato. And, you know, when Dave Lato left, the program was in the toilet. Yeah. And I'll never forget, you know, I'm going to get to his accolades in a minute. One of my coworkers, Tony Leary, told me Virginia will never win with Tony Bennett, like with this style. We'll never win. Well, Tony, I hope you're listening out there. His record at Virginia, 364 wins and 136 losses. That's a 728 win percentage. Giddy up. Like, sign me up for that. Sign me up for that all day, every day. 2-time Naismith Coach of the Year. Was the only other was Terry Holland ever a Coach of the Year? You know, Virginia's had some good coaches, so he may have. But Tony 2 times, and 2-time AP Coach of the Year, 4-time ACC Coach of the Year, 2 ACC tournament titles, 1 or shared in 6 ACC regular season titles. Of course, the big one, the national championship. He's one of 3 coaches in history with Dean Smith and Mike Krzyzewski. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of them, but I have. To lead his program to 10 or more consecutive winning ACC records, and is one of 3 coaches also with those guys again, Dean Smith, Coach K, to be named ACC Coach of the Year 4 or more times. Another big one here. In 2019, Bennett was named to a list of world's 50 greatest leaders by Fortune magazine, alongside such names as Special Counsel and UVA alumnus Robert Mueller, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Say what you want about them. Tim Cook of Apple as well. So just some of his accolades and reasons we appreciate Coach Bennett of what he's done here in Virginia. What about NBA players, Jack? Who has he coached that's in the NBA?
He has coached a lot of players that have made it to the big leagues. The first one, Trey Murphy, who's the most recent one, I believe, for the New Orleans Pelicans. DeAndre Hunter, Ty Jerome, Kyle Guy, the big 3 from that national championship run in 2019, all on their respective teams right now. Shayok, who transferred to Iowa State at one point, but he played a part in UVA for a couple of years. Devin Hall, Malcolm Brogdon, Rookie of the Year, and has been monstrous for the Bucks. Justin Anderson, Jumpin' Joe Harris, Mike Scott, Klay Thompson. That's right, Klay Thompson for the Golden State Warriors, and Kyle Weaver. Undrafted Bennett players to see significant NBA minutes include Mamadi Diakite, Sam Hauser, Braxton Key, and Aaron Baines. Jay, do you have a favorite moment besides the national championship from Coach Tony Bennett's tenure?
There's a lot of them, right? You know, it's hard to pick one. I knew we were going to do this, and I've been thinking. What do you say? And I think for me, you know, growing up, we never won an ACC tournament title. And so I just never really thought it was a possibility. And so I think winning that first ACC tournament title against Duke with Akil, friend of the show, Akil Mitchell, Joe Harris, and that group, it kind of opened my eyes to the possibility that the program could be different. It wasn't just, well, we'll get to the championship game and lose to Duke, we'll lose to Carolina, whoever it may be, because we had made it before under other coaches, you know, as well. And so that would probably be my favorite moment, but I got to say my favorite thing is just probably the way Coach Bennett handled himself after the loss to UMBC, and that showed me more about him than any win, because you always learn more in a loss than you do in a win.
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing the type of man he is. I've seen him another moment, and I hope I'm not stealing any of you guys' moments, but when Anthony Gill played over him, when he kind of had that moment in the tournament where he was on, he kind of got dizzy and went down to a knee, and I just thought that was a really strong moment for Bennett, and for the just again, it says a lot about him and the players that he recruits. So I'll turn it over to you guys, and but I could keep going on for probably another hour just myself. But I'll turn it over to you guys.
Yeah, those were all good ones. You did steal one of mine. So the way he handled himself after that loss to UMBC will always stand out to me.
Mm-hmm.
When Virginia lost that game, I was in a bad mood, and it wasn't helped out by friends who wanted to rub it in.
My family too.
And
My family.
I'll never forget. I took the Virginia shirt on that I was wearing that night because I thought Virginia was going to make a run, of course, and you don't expect that loss. And I Hulk Hogan that shirt. Like I ripped that shirt. I didn't rip it as easy as Hogan. I will say Hogan's shirts did have the little cuts in them to allow for a little easier ripping, but I Hulk Hogan that shirt.
Yeah.
And, I look back on that, and it didn't take me long. Many times you get mad in life, and it don't take long to look back and like, man, what was I thinking? And that was one of those moments. I was by myself. So
by then I was upstairs watching the game. I think it was the second half. I didn't witness it.
Was by myself. I ripped that shirt, and you watch how Coach Bennett handled himself there. Gosh, man, I was ashamed of myself, and I was by myself in the living room, and I did that, and I was fully ashamed because, and to handle that with such grace and class, and what those guys learned, and that's what just made that moment the following year. The reason I was so happy for Coach Bennett was because, sometimes in life, it doesn't feel this way a lot of times in today's society, but sometimes in life, good things happen to good people. And I just think that's what it was. I mean, it's just unbelievable to be able to conduct yourself that way after a loss and have your star guys sit up there at the podium and face that media and take those questions. You see, these are college kids, and you got professional athletes. When LeBron James of the world, sometimes I'm not going to talk to them. Like, and Tony Bennett, just to be able to sit there in front of that media like that, and he knew what was coming his way and just take it and taught those guys what a blessing. I forget what he said exactly, what a blessing it was. And what they're going to get out of that.
Joy comes in the morning.
Joy comes in the morning. And we his 5 pillars, and when I want to say it was when they made the Final Four after beating Purdue, and he cut that net down. I was so excited to see him. When he got that net down, you could just see some relief coming off. And I believe his dad was at that game, and a big embrace. His dad doesn't come to many games. So no. I think he was at that game. There was one of those, and the embrace from the father to the son after a big win like that. There's so many Tony Bennett stories. I know we were sticking away from the national title, but slapping that sticker on the board as One Shining Moment's coming on, I can't get that out of my head. We're thankful for Tony Bennett. Jack?
Yeah, it's so hard to just point out to one moment. where it's like, man, like that is Tony Bennett's best moment without going to the national championship, of course. I mean, I could just steal what you guys said. The ACC championship against Duke, I was about 6 years old, maybe 7 years old, but that was probably my earliest memory of watching UVA basketball. I just remember it being I remember my dad making it such a big deal in the living room. Like I was like, huh, this is pretty cool. We're winning a championship. So I remember that was like my first memory of UVA basketball that I can remember back to. Obviously the UMBC, the way he handled. But to me, I think you can't just point out to one moment. You just got to look at who the coach is throughout the time he's been here. 12 years, 15 years, something throughout that. I don't know. It's around there. Over
2009. Years. So we're 15 years.
15. Yeah. The way he's handled himself throughout that whole time, pouring into all those players' lives, the way he handles himself after the UMBC loss, just seeing across the time, you've really seen the kind of person and coach he is. And it's hard to point out a certain moment. He's just been an incredible coach. I couldn't ask for a better coach or person to be leading this program. And like we said earlier, I really hope he stays till the day he dies, really. He's just incredible.
Joe Pa. I got one more. I did want to mention. It was in my brain. This is because of Tony Bennett. When Jay and I were kids and Virginia football, we were just as excited as could be for one thing. We were number one in the country.
Yep. For 3 weeks.
Or was it 3 weeks? 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
When Virginia became number one in the country for the first time under Tony Bennett. And I know rankings really don't mean anything, but I was gaga. And was it the week when
I think we lost to Virginia Tech?
Yeah, we beat some other ACC school the same night that Villanova lost to. They lost to like Purdue or something like that. It was Villanova at number one. So Saturday they had college game day at UVA when Virginia Tech was visiting, and we lost to Virginia Tech. So
and then the texts were going off, and God rest your soul, Papa Powell. Yeah. But you lit us up, and you said, I guess number one's not coming your way. And I really thought he was right. I didn't think it. And when we were number one, my God, I could have done is it Dorothy or something? Click my heels together. I like Jack just doesn't understand. Jack has been pretty much his whole childhood. Virginia's been good. When I was just in college age, I'll never forget. If Virginia beat Duke in a basketball game, we're just going to throw this out there. I couldn't tell you when, whatever. I was working at Little Creek Base, had the game on in another room. I was checking it, watching the game, coming back in there. I was so excited, and Jack knows, I can't jump. But my little tail touched the rim. I was so excited. But now, like, I'm excited to beat Duke, but I'm not jumping around because it's a common thing now. Back then, if you beat Duke, home or away, I mean, I'm touching a 10-foot goal.
It is.
I'm running around outside my boxers, celebrating.
That's right.
But it is the equality of, for me, if we were to beat Virginia Tech in football, not that Virginia Tech's any good these last few years. That's what it's like for me.
We got as many national championship wins as we do wins over Virginia Tech. Since,
in my lifetime.
Like, yeah.
And it's true. I swear. It's true. I'm 17 years old. I've seen UVA beat Virginia Tech one time in my lifetime. Once.
Well, yeah.
Sorry.
Last thing I'll add is, no scandals. No players have come out and said anything negative about Tony ever. Even the guys that have transferred never had a bad word to say about him. And so that's just the last thing I'll add.
Yep, I'm in agreement.